I'm really interested in who has the influence on you to get you to Saline County at 7 o'clock in the morning. I want to know who to come to when I need something from you.
Give credit to the folks here at this table, and Kim, thank you again for setting this up. Glad to come. I'll come back. You better get tougher questions than that.
My microphone's not working.
Yeah, I can hear them if they talk loud. Somebody can interpret.
Good morning, sir. My name is Benton Event. I'm from the Legislators, and I have a question regarding the information for the money that will be used to fund 2-year degrees for areas that are needed. Would that only be 2-year degrees at community colleges or also at 4-year colleges?
Great question, and that would be at 2-year colleges and technical schools, so it would not be at the 4-year institutions. Now, we've got, I see Shane Broadway and, representing ASU, and there's probably other institutions here, but they see the benefit because if we can get more going into the 2-year program and moving up the educational ladder, then they will find their way into the 4-year institution. So I think we feed off of each other, but this is designed for the 2-year technical schools. Yes?
Yes. Just 2 real quick questions. I don't know if my microphone works or not.
Just talk about it.
Just talk about it. Okay. 2 real quick questions. One, is there any way the some of the general improvement funds could be used to make the tax cut plan budget neutral in case the digital products, whatever tax increase that's being amended to it right now doesn't go through? And the second question, there was an attempt in the last session to get rid of the special elections where they do these millage tax increases. Is there any way that could be passed now that we have more Republicans in the state legislature?
What, to get rid of the special elections?
Yes.
Okay, you might have to remind me on some of that.
It was Nate Bell's bill that was done the last time.
On the first part of the question, could we use GIF money or excess revenues to cover the offsets for the military retiree tax cut versus closing off some of the other exemptions? The answer is the balanced budget that I presented that funds education, that does public safety and all the other requirements of government has $0 for GIF. And so it is a tight budget, and we're absorbing the $50 million tax cut in future growth, but that's the maximum that we can absorb. And so this had to be offset. And we talk as conservatives about closing off exemptions, and I want to lower the rate. I want to lower the rate for all Arkansans. We want to get there, and to get there, you got to close off some exemptions. And so we just took 3 exemptions and tried to close those off, and it tells you how hard it is, because every exemption's got an advocate out there, and so it's not easy. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it. And so we've got 3 exemptions that will pay for that military retiree. I think they're the right thing to do. One of them, for example, is unemployment benefits. I know that it surprises you, but we don't have an income tax on unemployment benefits. This simply says you will close off that exemption. And all but 8 states don't have that exemption. They tax unemployment benefits. They tax it at the federal level, so that's a good exemption to close off. Now, people think, well, this is really going to hurt the lower income, but the fact is that they just had 200 executives laid off at Walmart at their headquarters. They're probably $100,000 a year jobs. That means their unemployment compensation is going to be taxed. And so it's not just a low income hit. I could go through all of the exemptions, but that's an example of what we're closing off. We're also, and this was a legislative-driven suggestion, which was right on target, that we're creating a legislative task force to look at future reforms down the road, get us ready for the 19 session, and what further tax cuts we can have, what further exemptions we can close off, how we can simplify the code and have more extensive tax reform. So there will be a legislative task force that will be directed at that effort. Finally, you asked about the special elections. You know, I think we all enjoy our elections in November. You know, for example, on school board elections, the legislation did allow us as an option, the school board, to have the election in November versus in well, some other fall
September is
time.
usually when I have them.
And so not many school boards have done that, but whenever the state took over a couple school districts, one of them being Helena, West Helena, when we returned it back to school control, that was when the Commissioner of Education, Johnny Key, since we were the school board at that point, we said we're going to have this election in November. And so, you know, we're able to influence that process. I don't know whether there's legislation right now that will impact other special elections.